Good morning, Philippines. Uh, Before I go any further, I would like to thank my subscribers for providing me with ideas for new material. I really appreciate it. If you have an idea that you'd like to discuss, please indicate in the comment section below. But today's suggestion was by a subscriber who I don't have authority to give her name out, but she indicated that foreigners should be very familiar with the Bastos law, the Bawal Bastos law, which I looked up was passed in August 3rd of 2019. So the law hasn't been around very long, but it covers the whole gamut of sexual harassment, from casual wolf whistling and derogatory comments through claims of homosexuality in public, the verbal, written, and online social media. It's all covered, and the fines vary depending on the degree of severity, including additional fines if it's perpetrated by somebody operating a public utility vehicle where they could lose their license. But generally speaking, it's designed to protect the weak and can also be exploited by them as well. So in extreme cases, the first case of harassment, if you brush up against the genitals of a female on, say, a jeepney, she could simply scream and yell and call the police, and you can be subject to a 50,000 peso fine in the first offense. So you need to be aware of that, boys. And there's not a lot of case law on it yet, but I'm sure that like any law, it will be used and abused to the advantage of the Filipina. But there's 250,000 bastard children of American and Australian GIs wandering around the streets and areas of Luzon and Manila who were left here as a result of the Korean and Vietnam War, when the military was stationed here at Clark's and other bases. And they don't want a repeat performance with this go around with the Chinese. So that's why you don't see too many of the guys in uniform on the streets, simply because they're trying to clean up their act. But the Philippine government, in its wisdom, has decided to protect the young ladies. They have special training for overseas foreign workers now, so that the girls don't get into situations like some have in Kuwait and Qatar, where they're locked up and their passports are taken away from them and they have no means of getting home. So they're tired of the exploitation, and the pushback is coming. And more power to them. You know, there used to be expression, if you wake up in the morning feeling like you've been had, be grateful. There's a lot of guys out there who whine and complain about how their wives took them for this and took them for that. And I lose all respect for them, simply because if you're any kind of a man, you can take the punch and you can move on. But if you're worried about physical, tangible things, it's all for her anyway. I mean, what's the fuss? And ladies, you know, watch out. There's a common phrase saying it's cheaper to rent than it is to buy, and why pay to milk the cow when you can get the milk for free. But the bottom line is, the only difference between rape and seduction is salesmanship. So if he's feeding you a line and you find out 6 months later he's got to go back to work in America or whatever, and you never see him again, you've exposed yourself to public ridicule, which you've got to be very careful about that. So, ladies, I'm begging you to please exercise caution. I mean, yeah, you're a handsome Western fellow. It may be coming there to turn your life around. But just as they all complain in the West about the scammers in the Philippines, you ladies must surely be aware of the scammers that come in this country and impregnate young Filipinos and then take off. So the Bawal Bastos law, 11/3/13. It's passed August 3rd in 2019. Read it. I'll put a link in the description below. And don't come here and brag about how cheap you could afford to get a girl into your arms. You should be bragging how much you pay. If you're going to compensate her to spend time with you, don't be a cheap Charlie. Make sure that she's comfortable. She's your queen. She's your everything. And if she's not, you need to move on. And with that, we'll say goodbye. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until the next one. Bye-bye.